Hello, I'm Liz Lumley of Finextra, and today I'm speaking to Robert Grimes of SAP. And we're going to talk a little bit about how a lot of innovative technologies today are affecting the relationship between banks and their corporate clients. So this is a bit of an opening question. Do you think banks are sort of meeting their corporate clients' needs effectively right at the moment?
Yeah, I think banks are facing many challenges at the moment in the new digital era, you could say. Corporate customers are looking for real time, they're looking for on-device, they're looking for on-demand, yet they're also looking for banks to be able to connect to their traditional type systems. So adding all of that together makes it a very complex environment for the banks at the moment, but something that they are having to face, and they do need to meet the quality of the service requirements of the corporate customer.
So cloud is a technology that comes up a lot when looking at sort of IT inside banks. What businesses are most suited to being supported by cloud?
Well, I think that's a very interesting question, because if you look at the corporate customer from their perspective, they have relationships with many banks. And all of those banks have relationships with many corporates. So that lends itself to the network paradigm. When you bring in cloud into that, the cloud enables the connection of many banks and many corporates together, very much like the business-to-business relationships that we see nowadays. So banks are really seeking service that can deliver to multiple customers, deliver in a low-cost fashion on a global basis, and make it scalable so that they can fulfill the needs of their customers in this new era.
Do you think some banks are wary of using cloud in this manner?
Yeah, I think currently the banks have been wary to date. I think that's changing quite rapidly, and they're overcoming this through discussions with their own regulators, with discussions with technology companies like SAP. And I think the opportunity of lower cost to meet their customers' demands is going to drive that pace of change a lot faster.
So that's interesting that you mentioned discussions with regulators and with cloud providers, but what are some of the barriers banks are seeing when trying to deploy cloud?
Yeah, I think barriers are quite many when you look at the cloud. For example, they've invested very heavily in their current solutions, and now the pace of change of technology is moving so rapidly that not alone are they finding it difficult to keep up with their own competition, the traditional banks, but they're finding it difficult to keep up with the new competition. And the new competition is that various companies out there offering new payment solutions that are in the non-regulated space. So that's a barrier. I think another barrier is the history and culture where banking comes from. A very good example is when you look at provision of statements to your corporate customer. In the past and presently, it's intraday, it's end of day. When we look at it nowadays, the corporate customer wants reconciliation and confirmation of those payments in real time. Banks are looking to be far more proactive rather than reactive. They need to move away from batch to real time. And they need to achieve all of this with new technology across a global scale. And this is a big challenge for them that they will have to meet.
So once banks move past these challenges and barriers, I'm wondering if you could go into a bit more detail on the efficiencies and benefits that bringing cloud into the bank-to-corporate relationship would bring.
Yeah, sure. I think cloud lends itself to huge opportunities for the banking industry. It's not just about low cost. There's definitely lower cost, lower maintenance, but also with that whole paradigm of the multi-bank, multi-corporate, multi-service, the ability for banks to be able to release new services to their corporate customers in a much more faster time frame is going to make a huge difference. I think also cloud will enable banks to offer the same type of service both to their large enterprise, their medium enterprise and small enterprise customers, therefore bringing a whole new range of services to their customer base that they haven't been able to do before.